Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So do we have Scott online?
No, just me.
I hope he's well. Okay. So where are we in our text?
Page 136, second verse.
Okay. Tatra tamas udbhave satyasura sampaduteti rajas udbhave sati lokadi vasana stristro bhavanti sattva syodbhave bhadave sati devi sampadupajayate etadevabhipretyoktam sarvadvareshu dehasmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidya dvivriddham sattvamityuta. When tamas predominates, the demoniac endowments arise. When rajas predominates, the three desires for fame, etc., take place. When sattva predominates, the divine endowments arise. With this in view, it has been said thus: when through every sense in this body the light of knowledge streams forth, then it should be known that sattva is predominant. It's from the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. So again, he's doing a short exegesis on the gunas. So the mind moves through these three states, tamas, rajas, and sattva. It's not just a circle, by the way. It's a spiral. So everybody goes to sleep at night. Tamas. Everybody has to go to the toilet, has to eat. Rajas. At times, everybody feels satisfaction. Sattva. So, what happens is as we move through our spiritual unfoldment, the preponderance of the mind leaves tamas, moves into rajas, and then finally into a predominantly sattvic. So in the predominantly sattvic mind, consciousness streams through the subtle intellect, the mind, and the senses. And we see the world without the secondary superimposition of our likes and dislikes, our judgments, etc. One of the things Vidyaranya says, which I like, talks about two levels of adhyasa, of superimposition. The first is the superimposition of Maya itself. Consciousness, by its own inherent Maya Shakti, brings forth the phenomenal universe, which is inherently neutral. Gravity isn't good or bad, just or unjust. It just is. Speed of light isn't good or bad, just or unjust. It just is. A black hole just is. In truth, every name and form just is. Then there's a secondary adhyasa, superimposition, based on the qualities of mind, tamas, rajas, and sattva, and the force of my past. I determine that this particular name and form is good or bad, just or unjust, right or wrong, truthful or fake news, pleasing to me or misery producing to me. This is what our individual minds superimposition on the superimposition that the infinite has done. Mind you, we don't lose sight of the fact that the world of name and form is mithya, fundamentally an illusion. So here what Vidyaranya is saying, that in the mind of the Jivan Mukta, which is predominantly sattvic, she is able to see the world as it is, bringing the mind into the now without bringing in the past or concerns about the future. A rose is a rose is a rose. So the practice is keeping the mind intensely introverted, letting the sense organs reside in the sense centers. I remember when I was in the ashram in the Haden, I would be endeavoring to practice this, keeping the mind tuned up. And I would just walk through Golden Gate Park. And you look at a bush and you just see a bush. You look at a paper on the walkway and you just see a paper on the wall. And you see the people playing baseball, and they're just people playing baseball. And there's some dog poop, and it's just dog poop. What we ordinarily do is there's a whole lot of story. Oh, that's such a beautiful flower. Oh, that reminds me of the flowers I had growing up. Or, oh, look at those hot people playing baseball. Oh, that smelly dog poop. Oh, there's a paper wrapper on the sidewalk. How could someone be, so thoughtless and stuff? Do these sounds like the kinds of thoughts go through your mind too? So what Vidyaranya is saying, no, that's a Rajasic and Tamasic mind. Endeavor to set all that stuff aside and just see what is in the world. Any thoughts about this practice? All right, next verse.
यद्यप्यन्तः करणं त्रिगुणात्मकं भासते तथापि सत्त्वमेवास्य मुख्यमुपादानकारणम् रजस्तमसि तूपष्टम्भके उपादानसहकारिभूता अवयवा उपष्टम्भकाः अत एव ज्ञानिनो योगाभ्यासेन रजस्तमसोरपनीतयोः सत्त्वमेव स्वरूपं परिशिष्यते एतदेवाभिप्रेत्योक्तं यस्य चित्तमाचित्तं साज्ञचित्तं सत्त्वमुच्यते इति. Although the internal sense organ appears to be made of the three modes, yet sattva alone is its principal material cause. Rajas and tamas are only props. The parts that have become support to the principal material cause are called upastambhakas, or props. Therefore, through yogic exercise, when the rajas and tamas are eliminated from the mind of a knower, sattva alone remains, which is its nature. With this in view, it is said thus: the mind of the knower is no mind at all, because it is called sattva. That's from the Laghu Yog Vashisht.
So, what happens? So, the metaphor that I like to use is the human mind is like a lens. So, the lens can be colored by tamas and rajas, which distorts our vision. But when the human mind is sattvic, it's like a clear piece of glass. So that perception of the self comes through with absolute clarity. Without the distortion of likes and dislikes, stories from the past, projections into the future. So, for example, Aditi, when you're with a client If your mind wanders while they're sharing, what happens? Hmm?
I miss out on what they're saying, and
By missing out, what do you mean?
I lose track of what's happening in the moment.
You lose direct perception.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if what they say triggers you or disturbs you?
I also lose clear perception. I have to go inwards and work through that before it can be.
So
clear.
if you're totally present to a client, what does that allow you to do?
To see clearly and be neutral.
Yes, say that again.
Allows me to see clearly and be neutral.
Yeah. And then innate wisdom arises. You know what to say if you need to say anything. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the paradox, the sattvic mind is the most powerful mind, the clearest mind, the most intelligent mind. Whereas frequently you and I think the oscillating mind is better. Should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I? What's this problem? Maybe I should do it this way. Maybe I should do it that way. Maybe I should do it this way. Ever done that? Become empty. So you can directly see. So this sattvic mind, which is no mind, is the most powerful. Now listen carefully. That doesn't mean there's no perception. It also doesn't mean that the flow of thought is inherently bad. Again, he's quoted Yoga Vasishta. I will use Yoga Vasishta's paradigm. 3 thoughts comprise the problematic mind. I think I'm a person, I have some goal, and I need to struggle toward it. Manonasha, the destruction of the mind, has 2 meanings. It can mean nirvikalpa samadhi, the mind state of no mind. But people don't stay in nirvikalpa. That's not the highest state. It means the removal of these 3 ideas, which is another name for sattva. And the mind is like a clear pane of glass. Consciousness functions straight on through without the obscuration, obfuscation of rajas and tamas. So I will quote Gita. Krishna always says, O Arjuna, be you vigunaihi, be you beyond the gunas, and then ever remain in the sattvic state. Sounds like a contradiction in terms. First part, always understand I am the witness of the play of the mind. So your mind goes into tamas and rajas. No big deal. And how do I maximize happiness and clarity and power in life? Maximize sattva. How do I do that? Let go of the personal sense of self. See the phenomenal world as it is. Brahma Satyam Jagan Nitya. Renounce kartavya. the struggle. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
तच्च सत्त्वं चाश्चल्यहेतुरजो गुणशून्यत्वादेकाग्रम् भ्रान्तिकल्पितानात्म स्वरूपस्थूलपदार्थाकार हेतु तमोगुणशून्यत्वात् सूक्ष्मम् तत् तत आत्मदर्शन योग्यम् अत एव श्रुतिः दृश्यते त्वग्क्रियया बुद्ध्या सूक्ष्मया सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः from the Kathopanishad. And that sattva is one-pointed because it is free from rajas, which is the cause of movement. And it is also subtle, since it is free from tamas, which is the cause of gross shapes of things that are non-self and imagined through delusion. Hence, this sattva is fit to see the self. Hence, the Shruti has it thus. Can be seen by those subtle seers through their sharp and subtle intelligence.
So here he's footnoting the point that he's making. What is sadhana? Sadhana is the various practices that we do in order to achieve a sattvic mind. That's all that need be done. When the mind is sattvic, the nature of the self, the nature of the world becomes very evident. It is like when I take a shower in the morning because there's no fan ventilator in this old bathroom. I get out of the shower and the mirrors are fogged up. I look into the mirror, I cannot see my reflection. Now the mirror hasn't changed. The steam on the mirror is obscuring the reflecting quality of the mirror. I come out of the bathroom, go make my bed, I go do dishes, come back into the bathroom to brush my teeth. Mirror, there's Jim's face. I don't have to do something in addition to removing the steam. The reflecting power of the mirror is there already. Likewise, listen carefully. I don't have to do an additional process after I remove the obscuring nature of tamas and rajas. That's all that need be done. And then, oh, I get it. There's no person there. All my worries, I just made them all up. And that's a direct experience. Now listen carefully. Just as when I get out of the shower in the morning and I look in the mirror and it's covered with steam, it doesn't worry me because I know if I open the bathroom door and go about my morning ritual, when I go back in, the steam will be gone. So if the mind becomes rajasic or tamasic, the jnani doesn't worry about it. She knows exactly what's going on. It will pass. As long as I don't take it seriously. I like to use the metaphor of a woman of childbearing age. So once a month during her cycle, hormones flood her body. Many women are very emotional, sometimes suicidal, sometimes homicidal. But women learn that as uncomfortable as it is, they know they're just PMSing and they don't take it seriously. Am I right? Have I made that up?
Depends. Depends.
Do you take it seriously?
Sometimes it's hard to distinguish.
But by and large, you know, it's your time of the month. Get out of my way. But what does that mean? That means even the ordinary woman learns at this time of the month not to believe her mind. It's just hormones. And maybe it's so powerful it overcomes you and you do take it seriously. But then when it passes, do you ever look back and say, oh, that wasn't real. I was just having hormones. Does that happen ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to use this as a way, as an example of how do we deal with the tamasic and the rajasic mind. Ideally, our yoga balam is such that the thought or feeling arises, and I just don't believe it. But I love the deeper meaning of the word vritti. Comes from the root vert, which means to turn. It's where we get the English word vortex. Sometimes it's so powerful, it's like a whirlpool and it sucks us down. We spin on that thought. So the idea is when you lose your mind and come to your senses, as the Buddhists say, you see clearly. Let the vortex go. Now, going back to one of the things, slogans Swamiji used to say all the time, the way to heal the mind is to get out of the mind. Many of us think I need to fix the mind from within the mind. It's at best temporary. Get out of the mind. Take on Sakshi Bhava, the attitude of the witness. Pull your energy out of reactivity. You hear me say, just don't do something, sit there. Just don't do something, stand there. Restraint of tongue, pen, and sense. Major tools to do this. All right, next verse. Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be right back.
All right. All right, next verse.
Na khalu vayuna dodhaya manena pradipena manimukta dilakshanani niradharayatum shakyante napi sthulena khanitrena suchyeva सूक्ष्मपटस्युतिः सम्भवति तदेतदीदृशं सत्त्वमेवा योगिषु तमोगुणगर्भितेन रजोगुणनोपस्तुष्टं बहुविधद्वैतसङ्कल्पेन चेतयमानं चित्तं भवति तच्चित्तं तमोगुणाधिक्ये सत्यासुरीं सम्पदमुपचिन्वत्वपीनं भवति तथाह Vasishtha. In a light, flickering with the breeze, it is not possible to ascertain the qualities of jewels, pearls, etc. Nor a fine cloth can be sewn by a spade as by a needle. Therefore, such sattva truly in non-yogis becomes chitta, under the influence of rajas mixed with tamas, though awareness of many thoughts of duality. Through many thoughts. Tamas prevailing, this chitta becomes fat by accumulating demoniac endowments. Vasishtha said thus.
So we use the word chitta, which is a derivation of chit, consciousness. So the stuff of the mind becomes tamasic and rajasic. But when the obfuscations, when the faulting is minimized and at times completely stops, chitta is seen to be nothing other than chit. Using the great example of the alata shanti, the quenching of the firebrand, in the 4th chapter of Gaudapada's Karika. So you take the sparkler on Diwali or 4th of July, make a circle. There's a circle in the sky. You stop moving the sparkler. Where does the circle go? Well, it was never a real thing. So when mind is thoughting, the gross world with my likes and dislikes and efforts and struggles shows up. When I minimize or cease the thought, it doesn't go anywhere. You don't have a little purse that you put your thoughts in. Or as Swami Tejo Mayananda used to say, you know how to get rid of your worries? Quit worrying. Or as Yoga Vasishta says, why try to cover the world in leather when you can wear shoes? Nobody, no situation has the power to make me feel envy. I choose to imbue it with reality. It's axiomatic. If I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I'm the one with the klesha. It's that simple. Well, don't I have a right to be angry if I'm cheated? Sweet one, you can have anything you wish. Knock yourself out. Just understand you made it up. Next verse.
Anatmanya atma bhavena deha bhavanaya tatha putradareha kudumbeshcha cheto gashchati pinata ahankara vikarena mamata malalilaya idam mameti bhavena cheto gacchati pinatam adhivyadhi vilasena samashvasena sansrito heyadeya vibhagena cheto gacchati pinatam snehena dhanalobhena labhena maniyoshitam apatara maniyena cheto gacchati pinatam durasha kshirapanena bhoga nila balena cha astha danena charena chitta hiryati pinatam. Considering non-self as self, also by the thought, I am the body, and by the son's wife and relatives as mine, the chitta gets swelled. Stricken with egotism and rejoicing in the dirty sense of mineness, and with the notion of this is mine, the chitta gets swelled. By the faith and hope in this world, which is the playground of disease, mental and physical, and which is imagined to consist of things acceptable and non-acceptable, the chitta gets swelled. By love towards the things of the world, lust for wealth, acquirement of jewels and women, which are all apparently very pleasing, the chitta gets swelled. The serpent of the mind, by feeding upon the milk of vain hopes, by the strength gained from the breath of enjoyment, and by wandering about to take a place for abiding, becomes fat.
Wonderful images. So, desire and object of desire become one, and I attribute to that person, place, thing, or situation inherent joy-giving or misery-producing qualities. The chitta gets fat. Why? Because it leaves vasana. And the first power of a vasana, of vritti, veiling power. I lose, first of all, my ananda. I may still have a sense that I'm the witness. I may still have the sense that I'm conscious, but I'm not very happy. And instead of doing abhyasa, practice, I start the effort to control, to dominate, to please, to get what I want. Then I'm involved in the KKK, kama, craving, karma, action, bodha, anger, bhaya, fear. And the more reality I attribute to the world, and the more I externalize my ananda, it's up there, the more serious kartavya becomes. The more my feeling of bliss recedes. The chitta becomes swollen, fat. It's a wonderful metaphor. Any thoughts on this? Now again, you can do whatever you wish. But as Shankara says, at least don't embrace a rotting corpse thinking it's a beautiful bride. If you want to go play with the world in an attached and ignorant way, knock yourself out. But don't come weeping to the guru when you're miserable. He didn't do it. And yes, you can come weeping to the guru when you're miserable. He doesn't care. He loves you. Any thoughts on this? The paradigm of the fattened, thick chitta is I'm unhappy because I'm not getting what I want. The paradigm for the yogi who may be unhappy is I see I'm unhappy because I'm under the tyranny of kama, Krishna, Vanja, Raga, Vesha, Maya. My solution is not to fix the world. My solution is renouncing the tamas and the rajas. Let go. But such is the power of Maya. Even after having heard the truth over and over again. She's not behaving the way I want. He's doing it wrong. I don't like this out there in the world. That seems so real. Any thoughts on this? Next one.
Astha nama prapanche satyatva buddhi tasya adana mangikaraha sa eva charo gamanagamana kriya teneti tadevam nisha tadevam vinashaniya yor vasanama nasoha swarupam nirupitam. Confidence, astha, means sense of reality in the phenomenal world. Taking, adanam, of that is acceptance of the reality of the visible world. That alone is wandering about, charaha, going and coming by that. Thus is the meaning. So in this manner, the nature of the desire and the mind, which are to be dissolved, is defined.
So he agrees with me. I love it. It's because I take the phenomenal world as real, that it has inherent joy-giving and misery-producing qualities. I need to engage with that in order to try to alleviate my suffering and acquire happiness. Such is the nature of samsara. Such is the nature of dukkha. Next one.
Atha vasana kshaya manonasho kramena nirupyete. Tatra vasana kshaya prakara maha vasishtaha. Bandho hi vasana bandho mokshaha syadvasana kshayaha. Vasanastvam parityajya moksharthi tvamapi tyaja. Manasir vasanaha purvam tyaktva vishaya vasanaha maitriyadi bhavana nam grihana malavasanaha ta apyantaha parityajya tabhiryavharanapi antaha shantatamasneho bhava chinmatra vasanaha tamapyantaha paritajya mano buddhi manvitam sheshe sthira samasino yena tyajyasi tatyaja. And now the effacement of latent impressions, desire, and the dissolution of the mind are being described respectively.
Go ahead.
About the destruction of desire, Vasishta has said thus: bondage is truly the bonds of desire, and liberation is getting rid of them. Giving up all desires, give up even the desire for liberation. Renounce first the desire for things of enjoyment, then the mental desires, and have in you the pure desires, such as the thoughts of friendship and the rest. Although using those thoughts of friendship, etc., in practice, giving them up inwardly, be unattached to them all mentally, and stay with the desire for knowledge alone. Even that desire for knowledge, along with the mind and intellect, giving up inwardly, abiding in that what remains, give that up by which you renounce.
So here he's talking about the succession of renunciation. the various levels of practice. So when we start, we are suggested to practice the 4 qualifications of a fit student, Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Guna, and what's the 4th one? Mumukshutva, the burning desire for liberation. Well, Vidyaranya just says you're supposed to give that up. That seems inconsistent. He says there's a succession of renunciation. In the beginning, we work on letting go of our expectations, our sense of insistence, our control issues. That's a good place to start. Those are the kinds of things that begin to get us in trouble. When I find myself screaming and yelling at other people, why? My control issues. It's not happening my way. When I get some serenity around that, let it go, let it go, let it go. I start working on my attachment to the phenomenal world in general. Can I let go of attachment? Dehavasana, things of the body. Lokavasana, things to do with other people, approval, affection, esteem. Shastravasana, trying to figure stuff out, acquiring lots of knowledge. When I work on replacing negative feelings and thoughts with more positive ones, do I find myself getting all upset around politics? The Buddhists would say that's ill will. We replace that with wishing the liberation, the peace of mind of all beings. Master Jesus said, I say, love your enemies. Even the Gentiles love their friends. I say, love your enemies. Everything is subsumed into desire for moksha. Then we start to work on the more subtle things like renouncing the personal sense of self. If I feel like a person, I'm deluded. Drop it. When I see myself struggling, let go of it. Let go of it. When I see myself judging the world as good or bad, right or wrong, just or unjust, let it go. And at this point, we might begin to have some intimation, some direct experience of the no thingness of my essential nature. We're able to easily tune up the mind and just drop everything. We still have the desire. Work on staying there, not letting the mind extrovert. And then the last desire to give up. Who is it who's trying to be realized? Who is it who wants to be enlightened? Let that go too. Don't try to be an enlightened verse. No, you are Brahman. Have no concern for this body, mind, intellect. Just as the ordinary person has no real concern for their shadow, whether it's long or short, whether it falls in the gutter. Today it's a rainy, overcast day. I go outside, oh, I don't have a shadow today. Nobody thinks that. Have no concern for stupid mind states, the activities of the body. But a yogi needs to be able to use what I call the yogi's bag of tricks. You don't use the same practice all the time. The rule of thumb is the grosser the mind, the more meditative supports you need. Subtler the mind, drop that stuff away. So the yogi needs to be able to, again, stand back, witness the mind. What's the efficacious practice today? If the mind has grossified into rajas and tamas. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
अत्र मानसवासना शब्देन पूर्वोक्तास्तिस्रो लोकशास्त्रदेहवासना विविक्षिताः विषयवासना शब्देन दम्भदर्पाद्यासुरसम्पाद्विवक्षिता मृत्युतीव्रत्वे दत्तद्विवक्षाभेदकारणे यद्वा शब्दस्पर्शरूपरसगन्धा विषयाः तेषां काम्यमानत्वदशाजन्यः संस्कारो मानसवासना भुज्यमानत्वदशाजन्यः संस्कारो विषयवासना अस्मिन् पक्षे पूर्वोक्तानां चतुस्सृणामनयोरेवान्तर्भावः अन्तर्बाह्यव्यतिरेकेण वासनान्तरासंभवात्. By the word mental desire, manasavasana, the aforesaid three desires for fame, learning, and body are referred to. By the word desire for sense objects, vishayavasana, hypocrisy, insolence, etc., the demoniac endowments are referred to. They are being referred to severally because of their mildness and severity. Or it may be that sound, touch, form, taste, and smell are the objects. The impressions formed while they are being desired are mental desire, and the impressions formed while they are being undergone are called desire for sense objects. According to this interpretation, All the four aforesaid desires are included in these two categories, since there is no other desire than internal and external desires.
So here he's talking about, ways in which to parse the meaning of the shloka from Yoga Vasishta. I don't think we need to worry about it too much. But the idea here is you can have desire for actual physical things in your presence. I see the ice cream in the refrigerator at the supermarket. Or it can be a mental desire. Oh, I wish so and so would behave differently. It would be nice if I had a yada, yada, yada. These are mental desires, more subtle. And here, basically, Vidyaranya is saying there's no real distinction. There's no real distinction. What a yogi wants to do is when desire arises in the mind, make sure you don't have the quality of insistence. I must have this in order to be okay. Do not delude yourself into thinking I'm unhappy because of the work. Listen very carefully. In the end, desire is not an impediment to realization. This used to really confuse me because in the early days of my sadhana, it was very clear that Swamiji was enjoying the world. He loved good food. He loved driving in fast cars. He loved listening to the delegates at the camps perform music and dance. He was obviously happy when someone he cared about came and said hello to him. But it took me a while to see that he had no attachment to anyone. Now, you and I do not have the ability to judge the level of detachment or attachment of others. Don't try to make yourself feel a little bit superior. They're getting triggered. We need to do our own understand. There's no clearer way in which it's enunciated than the Four Noble Truths of the Buddha. Dukkha Satya, the truth of suffering. Life, the way most people live it, is suffering. Samudaya Satya, the arising of the suffering. It is kama, craving. It is sangraha, attachment. It is dvesha. It is aversion. It is bhaya, fear. Nirodha Satya, the truth of the removal of suffering. When the desire is removed, the suffering is removed. Panchadashi, we're talking about the 3 states in which it's completely gone. Vasana Ananda, the bliss of deep sleep. Vishaya Ananda, the happiness I experience at the satisfaction of a desire. Brahmananda, the bliss of taste in my own self-nature. What is the common point of all 3? Shepa Shakti of the mind is gone. The waves of the ocean. What does it show us? Chidananda, my form, my nature is bliss consciousness. That's the important thing to know. All right, we'll end here. What verse are we on for next time?
The first one on 141.
All right, so this is our last Wednesday class of the year. Next week, I'm going to need prep time for Thanksgiving. And I'm taking the whole month of December off. So calendaring right now, our next class will be January 8th. I'm coming back to work on the 5th. So we will not meet on New Year's Day, but we'll meet on the 8th of January. So I'll make that all clear in an email for you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.